We're gonna try some cocktails from Miss Tina right here. Okay, let's cheers. Ooh, that's really good. It's very grapefruity.
Well, it is a grapefruit martini.
I like it. It's not sweet at all. Ooh, good job.
Yay, I passed.
Okay, little mommy pregame. Cheers.
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 God.
Oh,
It's been
my
a while.
God. I've not done a shot of vodka in like over a year.
Yeah, I honestly can't remember.
I can't remember either. That's nasty. Oh.
Especially when it's not cold.
Oh. Oh. Okay, so a little bit of a different video today, you guys. I have my bestie Tina here. Tina!
Hi!
Yeah, this is Tina. I've known Tina since grade 1, grade 2.
Something like that, yeah.
We go back like
Way back.
so many years. It's insane. We had kids at the same time. She just moved here from Vancouver, so it's been really nice. And this is our first mommy's night out.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And I have not, like, it's been a long ass time.
Yeah.
It's been, I was trying to ask Ryan this. I'm like, when did I last actually go out without babies, without him? And I'm like, it's gotta be like a year and a half, like almost 2 years. Like, it's been a long, long time. So she made some cocktails for us right here. We have grapefruit, what are these called?
Basil grapefruit martini.
Basil grapefruit martinis, and she's actually a bartender, so
Yeah.
they're yummy. We just did a shot of vodka, which it's been a while. I nearly puked, but
Yeah.
yeah, so we are actually just going out with a few other moms tonight to a restaurant, and then we might go to like a country bar after. They have like some live acoustic music and stuff like that. So I just thought we would get ready, answer some mommy questions, since I obviously have twins. She has a singleton, so I just kind of want to see the differences, and we talk about this all the time and stuff, and get very real.
Yes.
So I mean, no one knows really what goes on more than I think Tina and Ben. They're here all the time, and you know, it obviously can get stressful being a mom, and I just think sometimes Instagram, you only kind of see the one side things where they're happy and they're not, you know, throwing tantrums. So I thought we would get pretty real in this video, and you guys sent in a ton of questions, and we're kind of gonna get ready and just like answer the questions. So yeah, we're just gonna get ready, and yeah. We'll start with a few questions here. All right, so we're going in with all of my marble brushes as well. And Tina just said she's not a makeup person. That's okay. Yeah. But she's gonna use her hands for her foundation. But I'm just going with this brush right here. It's the Tapered Face. And Pat McGrath, you guys already know I love this foundation. Okay, so first question. My 2-year-old won't eat anything fruit or veggies that's green. Do you get the twins to eat, or how do you get the twins to eat so well? I guess, okay, so I'll answer that first. The girls, honestly, since day one, we got extremely lucky. They are really good eaters and also really good sleepers. So it's hard because I know some other friends that have babies that like it's impossible for their kids to eat greens, or like they have a hard time feeding them. And we just got really, I guess, lucky in that situation. But sometimes, I mean, they won't eat their greens and they'll leave their peas or broccoli and whatnot. But I don't know, we try to put it in with like every meal. And I guess since the beginning, like my biggest tip is do it at the start, like do it as early as you can so it gets routine. And that's like the biggest thing like that I can say is routine is so key, like with any baby in general. And that's, I think, how we did it with twins, honestly, but it'd probably be the same for a singleton too. It's just routine.
Definitely. And I mean, I just always just offer it. You know, I never put a lot of pressure on him eating it, but you know, just because he doesn't eat it doesn't mean I'll stop offering it, right? Eventually, he usually comes around and will try it. I don't try and make it a negative experience because I want him to enjoy the fruit of the vegetables. I mean, mine loves fruit and some vegetables, but some he's a bit picky on. Like he, at the moment, won't touch broccoli, but
yeah. I know some people too, I've seen, like, they'll make them into like, or like they'll turn it into like fancy, or there's like fancy characters and like cartoon people that you can buy of vegetables and stuff. But
yeah, I make these like potato and broccoli like patties, and you can use a cookie cutter and make a shape. You know, you can get like dinosaur
do you find
shapes.
that helps?
Yeah, he'll eat those.
Oh yeah.
But there's, you know, there's potato and you know, sometimes I put a little bit of cheese or whatever in there as well, and it's, so you know, he's still getting those vitamins, but and he will eat it, but it just depends. But just keep offering.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. One second, I'm gonna turn on this light here. Voila. And I should have said too, the boys are downstairs right now. So Tina's husband and my husband, Ryan, are obviously good friends, and they're with the babies, and we're just ordering food for them right now. And then we're gonna be on our way, but yeah, so I just went in with concealer. I think, okay, so we answered that question. How do you deal with your mom guilt? I need some help. Okay, you answer that one first, because I don't, yeah.
I mean, for the most part, just realize like your kid's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As long as you're not being abusive or negligent or anything, your kid will be fine, you know?
Yeah.
And I try and just put in, like, I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I try and, you know, make that afternoon sort of slot in between his naps all about him, and I put all of my energy into those few hours.
Yeah. So
that I don't feel so guilty about, you know, maybe putting cartoons on so I can take a little bit of a longer shower or do things like that, because, you know, you also have to be happy.
Oh,
you know,
for
your
sure.
kids pick up on that all the time.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And, you know, if you're happy, they're happy. And
100%.
You know, I think, and don't let other moms make you feel bad.
That's a huge thing. I think there's so many trolls, especially Tina's not online. She's not on social media really as much as obviously I am. And it's just insane, some of the things I see, obviously. And I mean, moms should be supporting other moms. There's a lot of people that don't, though, and judge other moms, but I think it's so important to just do what you feel is best, and if you're giving it 100% and trying your hardest, then that's all that really matters. I mean, if you need to go have a break and have your baby be in the crib, like, that's totally fine. And I think people have this like guilt problem, like, where they feel so bad, they're like, oh my goodness, like, my baby's crying in the crib. But like, if you need 10 minutes to yourself, that's honestly, that's nothing to me. Like, that you need that time. And Ryan and I have done that so many times. Like, we do that all the time. Like, when we need a break from them, we will have a break.
Yeah.
It gets so exhausting. Like, and I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't know what it's like to have one, but I know with two, it's like, I always need Ryan. It's in vice versa. Like, it's a lot of work. But
yeah.
You're obviously with Michael at home 24/7 by herself. So, I mean, I find that's just as hard. Like, even though we have two babies, we have, you know, both of us here, but even with one, it would be a lot of work.
I mean,
and you have to watch him at all times.
I mean, it's not even just watching them. It's like you have to be fully engaged. And you also, you know, to a sense, you're having to open yourself up entirely to them.
Absolutely,
and like,
yeah.
I would say I probably don't even open myself up entirely to my husband. Like,
yeah.
But to your baby, it's like you have to just...
I agree so much.
You have to you have to give them everything, and that is exhausting because, you know, that's not easy to do.
That's the thing too. They feed off your positivity, off your happiness. They feel that. Like, we've started to see now too. Like, if Ryan and I are getting in an argument, we're like, oh shoot, like, me and Sophia can see that. Like, we can't do that anymore in front of them. And, you know, like, small things, obviously, like dishes, and Tina's seen us fight. It's normal. I've seen her and Ben fight, so it's very normal. But obviously, with being on YouTube, like, a lot of people are like, oh, you and Ryan never fight, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, of course we do. It's normal. And obviously, there's a lot of responsibility with having kids. I mean, if you weren't fighting with your husband, then I think that's a problem. If you guys are always agreeing, that's a really strange thing for me to to understand. But okay, I'm gonna go to the next question here so we can get more done. How do you balance everything like your business, relationships, and you time? Oh my God. Okay, so that's a very good question, because that's the biggest struggle I think I have, is business and baby and hubby. Like, it's just, and friends, obviously. Like, before, I think when I lived in Ontario, it was very, very hard for me to have a social life. And obviously now it's nice being back in Calgary, and I have, you know, friends and family close by. And like I've said this too, like, it's just so nice being able to do so many kid-friendly things out here. And
yes,
there's so many things to do with your kids, and I think that's really important, like, to be doing a lot with them. And the whole transition, because when we moved right when COVID happened, so the girls hadn't seen anybody in like 2 months, and they were so like just, they weren't social, and they didn't know what was going on when like they saw so many people here, but they slowly got back into it. And I'm so happy about that, because I was worried for a bit. I was like, oh shoot, like, you know, they're not as social as, you know, they should be. But it was a weird transition just with COVID. But yeah, with balance, I think what I try to do best, because obviously working at home I've been doing for the last 5 years, but now with 2 twins running around, it's obviously a lot more difficult to do that. But I mean, I've told a lot of you guys, you know, Ryan is at home now with me, so he helps out a lot. And like, it's, yeah, if you have 2 little ones running around, it's just insane. But I think having that time in the morning, that's the biggest thing for me. I want to get everything done in the morning, all my work, and that's when I'm like most active and most like ready to work. So I feel like if I try to do more work throughout the end of the day, it's just not happening. So I try to do a lot in the morning. But what would you say with like hubby balance and like baby balance? Like, you guys were saying, okay, so this was our thing that Tina was saying, was since they're here now, is we both don't have family here. So she's like, we got to alternate date nights. So like, we watch Michael, and then she watches the girls, and they come over when we want to do date night. I was like, that's a great idea, because we both, and we're doing Thanksgiving together. So Michael and Ben will come here for dinner, and Ryan's brother is actually coming. But it's just nice when you don't have family around. And I think Ryan's mom and dad are going to come for Christmas, and my mom is going to come sometime soon as well. But obviously it's nice when you can just do that stuff with like close friends as well.
Yeah, we're like each other's family now.
Exactly. And honestly, it's been like, I'm so happy that like Ben and Ryan hit it off, because like we've known each other for so goddamn long.
Yeah,
it's insane. And Tina was saying this to me the other day, where like, we can literally tell each other anything, and there's no judgment. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, there's just no judgment, and like, we've always had that
no
bond.
Boundaries.
Exactly, no boundaries. But it's always nice to have that. But I just love how great they get along too. So then we can go out for mama nights.
I know.
But okay, I gotta get to powder. I've been working on my face forever on foundation. But let's just hear, you can answer the next one here. What is the most important advice you could give to a first-time mom? I'm due in November. With a boy, and you have a boy.
Okay, so the funniest thing is that I actually have a degree in child development.
Yes, you do.
I don't follow any of that. I mean, I do, but I think the biggest piece of advice is follow your gut. Just,
I agree.
You know, because you're gonna have, especially in the beginning, a million different sources telling you what you should and shouldn't do. And you just have to do what's right for you and your baby. And, you know, don't worry about what other people say. And, you know, if people say like, oh no, you have to do this, it worked for us, but you know, you're not comfortable doing it, don't do it. Like,
exactly.
Do what works for you, do what you're happy with, you know, don't worry about the judgment. And also, honestly,
okay, you know, one thing I do have to mention is the breastfeeding. Like, that, I remember at the hospital, like, there was such a pressureful thing with breastfeeding, and I totally understand it. And of course I wanted to breastfeed. Like, it was honestly like something that I was like 100% I'm gonna do, but it was more not about that. Like, it was more so with twins too. I'm sure twin moms understand this, because it's insane to get an amount of milk to feed both of them. So like, and I had to do it at the same time, so it was like not doing it fast enough, not doing it frequently enough, not getting enough milk that I only could really produce for one baby. So they would either split it, and then we were doing formula, but there was just such this like crazy pressureful feeling that I had, because everyone was like, you had to breastfeed, you had to, and for a certain amount of time, obviously, I think it's like 6 months at least, but I think I only did 3 months, and until my milk like fully ran out. And I mean, people go for a year and over that, but for me, it was more so just making sure they were getting fed enough, which is important. And when they weren't, we would just substitute it with formula, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And that's what they have, and or that's what they were having after anyways. So honestly, like, it was just, I remember being so stressed out, like, about that. I remember Ryan spilt, or dropped. He dropped, like, after I had pumped, he dropped whatever milliliters it was.
Oh,
okay, or they call it the, what was it, the gold something.
Liquid gold.
Liquid gold. He's like, I remember he screamed, he's like, no! And it was like a slow motion moment where it was just like so dramatic. I'm like, oh my God. But it did. It took me like an hour to pump that milk. And I was just like, this is insane. I'm like, why are we driving ourselves mental? Like, and it really was, like, it was stressing us both out even more trying to produce that milk. And like, I was pumping every hour. It was crazy. And they always said that too with twins, you might not produce enough for 2. And I was not getting milk for 2, that was for sure. But
yeah, well, I had my allergies, that it was a weird postpartum allergy thing where I was covered head to toe in hives, my face was swollen, and this was at 2 months, and I was breastfeeding, and they said, well, we can give you a medication that will fix it, but you're gonna have to stop. And I refused. And so for 2 months I put myself through hell, and it got to the point where everyone in my family was like, you can't do this anymore. Like, I was crying every day because I was so itchy and in pain, and then it was just a horrible experience, but it's because I felt so guilty about stopping, and everyone was like, no, you have to stop now. And I did. And honestly, like, if
it's dependent on like you being, or I almost find it to be a distraction sometimes from actually mothering and actually being there for your child. It's crazy. And I mean, there are people that get loads of milk. Like, if you get tons of milk, 100% breastfeed and, you know, keep doing what you're doing and pump and whatnot. But a lot of people don't. And I think moms get so stressed out about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so mini break, we just ordered food, but continuing with getting ready. I just put powder on too. Obviously, you guys know Chanel. The powder is so good, so I always go in with that one. Okay, let's see. Do you have any experience being mommy shamed? How not, or hope not, but if you do, how do you deal with it? I guess, yeah, when I was doing the mommy vlogs, you guys know I had the vlog channel when I was posting videos to that channel, but I kind of merged my channels into this channel. It was just obviously a lot of work doing that many videos, but of course, like, there were just people, yeah, I remember even when I was pregnant, I bought the Orabelle, and I was getting a lot of like mommy shame, like, why would you purchase that early? They don't need that till 6 months. And I was like, who cares? Like, it was just crazy. But it was just things like that where I was like why, you know, if it's like this prior to having a baby, what is it going to be like having a baby? But surprisingly enough, I think it's been pretty good since I've shared the girls, and like, people really, I mean, you can't really say anything bad about babies, but I feel like at the same time, I don't do anything that would kind of, I guess, have people mom shaming me, but I'm really open, like, about everything on my channel and like with my content. So have you been mom shamed?
A couple times.
Public or like friends or
no, in
people?
Public. So one time somebody came up to me and said that my son's hair was parted on the girl's side and not the boy's side, and I was like, man. Okay, like, go back to the 50s, so see you later.
Actually, you just reminded me of a time when I had the girls and we were going to a winery with Ryan, and an older lady came up, like, she might have been in like her 70s or 80s, and she thought I was the nanny. And I was like, oh my God, like, that was the first time I had that, but I'm like, yeah, I don't look like them as much as Ryan does, but I didn't think she would just full on, like, not think they were mine. Like, I remember talking about this too, but I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, that's weird.
But yeah, that was definitely a weird experience for me, but, and it's just not something I would say to anybody, but
no.
Okay, so Actually, that's another thing that I get asked all the time is the sleep training. Like, how do you have the girls sleep throughout the night? And the girls sleep from like 6:45, 7 until 8 in the morning. So I know Ben's up at like, what is it, 6?
We get, yeah, we're,
6?
Between 6 and 6:30 is when he wakes up, and he goes to bed at about 7.
Yeah.
I've tried making his bedtime later, but he still wakes up that early, and I went for 3 weeks, but so I was like, no, I still want my time in the evening.
Yeah. I think, yeah, a lot of people do the sleep training and stuff. Like, Ryan's always been so routine. That's just Ryan. Like, he's very routine about his schedules and like all day thing. He's diabetic type 1, so he's always had to be routine, but I didn't know that would honestly like work so well with the girls. So he would always be like, okay, they go to bed at this time. This is when we put them down. This is the time we brush their teeth. So whenever like right before bed, they know they're like, okay, we have to brush our teeth, and they know when bedtime is, so they like automatically start getting tired and like lay on our shoulders. And I just like that, like when they know what's going on next. But yeah, I just feel like it's important to keep your kids' routine. Okay, so how often do you get date night or mom night out? Legit never.
Yeah.
Never. Hopefully a little bit more now that we kind of have been doing teamwork here. So it's Tina and I, Ben and Ryan. So like maybe if they want to go out and do something, vice versa, we can kind of watch all 3 children. But yeah, not as often as I would like to, but I mean, makes it more fun when you do. Tips on how to teach toddlers not to climb or do dangerous things. It's hilarious because Michael, me, and Sophia were all just climbing the stairs to go upstairs, and we're like all like, no. But I feel like it's a little inevitable. Like, they're gonna want to do those things regardless. Like, I mean, the amount of times we're grabbing me and Sophia from going up the stairs, and we have the baby guards and everything like that, but it's just kind of inevitable. But it happens. And for us, I know it's different because we have eyes on both of them. So like, one will be climbing a couch, the other one will be like trying to climb the stairs. So we're like, you know, it's difficult. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys do? Is there anything like to kind of prevent him from doing that?
I mean, we baby proof, right? So
yeah,
they can't. You know, we've got gates on the stairs so that he can't
go up and down.
Because he's just like me when I was little. He's a monkey. If it can be climbed, he will climb it.
Yeah, it's so true. Boys are so different than girls too. I feel like boys he's very rough, he's very active, and he's like ready to go. Yeah, he's ready to go. Girls are different. They're a little more, I find, like, gentle.
Yeah.
Ryan was like climbing trees and like doing all this crazy stuff when he was a young boy that his mom didn't even know about until way later, but he was like always getting into trouble. But I find girls get into trouble later on in life, like 15, 16, it's like game over. So
yeah,
I feel like we're gonna want to switch spots at that point.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll have to worry about him wanting to like jump off the roof onto a trampoline. Like, you always see teenage boys doing stuff like that. But
I wouldn't be able to deal with that.
But I think
I'm so scared.
I think in terms of advice too, another thing I did was I taught him like from 6 months how to climb the stairs, because I was like, you're gonna need to do this.
It's
so
true.
He's pretty good at it.
He is. Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's been climbing the stairs.
They know how to climb the stairs up. It's just going down that kind of worries me sometimes.
Yeah, you definitely, like, I would actually have no problem not watching him climb up the stairs. It's watching him go down the stairs that you have to watch, you know, be careful of.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm just going in with like a brown smoky eye today with lashes. Are you wearing falsies? Oh yeah, you're putting them on.
I just got glue on.
Okay, so recommendations on trying to conceive. And so I get asked a lot too if my twins were natural or if I did IVF. They were extremely natural because we did not know we were having twins. I did a whole birth story on this and like how we found out and stuff, and we were shocked. Like, I did not know twins ran in my family. So 3 sets of twins on my mom's side, way down there. Like, it was like her grandparents, but I didn't do IVF. We tried the first time, I think same as Ben and Tina, and they had no idea. She had no idea she was pregnant. No. And same thing with us. Like, we had no idea that, like, we were like, okay, like, we were thinking, obviously, we're like, okay, well, and it was a month after we got married. So it was November we got married. Our 3-year anniversary is coming up, which is so crazy. But I remember thinking, okay, like, why don't we just try for it? And then we tried. And then I actually took a pregnancy test and it said negative. So I was like, okay, I'm not pregnant. And then I didn't know, like, a few weeks after I actually was pregnant. So it was like too early for it to tell me. But it's when I came out to Calgary with a few of my friends and we were on a trip and I felt extremely tired, nauseous, constipated, like it was like all symptoms in one, and I was like, something's wrong, like, and yeah, when I got back I found out I was pregnant, but I just didn't think it would be that easy or that quick, which is, because Ryan always used to say too, he's like, I'm an old man, he's like, you're not gonna get pregnant, like he always psyched me out, he was always like my age, because he's 40 next year, doesn't look like he's 40, but he always said, you know, like, he'd always be like, my boys won't work. But obviously that wasn't the case, and age is only just a number, so I feel like sometimes it can happen quick. And then for others, it can take a long time, so who knows? If we were to ever try for a second, it might take much longer. Or a third.
Yeah.
A third.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about you?
Yeah, no, it...
How did you,
to be honest,
how did you find out that you were pregnant?
We weren't actually trying. We were surprised.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. You told me how much after, I can't remember. So, you were really early on though when you told me.
Yeah, I was doing natural planning because I just don't react well to birth control. And I've tried all the other methods and they didn't work. So, you know, I had my app and I took my temperature every morning, and but there was one night where I had a little bit too much Kim Crawford rosé, and it was the first of my week of red days where it's, you know, you have to be extra safe. And I was like, nah, nothing's gonna happen. And normally I'm a stickler for it, but for some reason this time I was like, nothing's gonna happen. My husband's like, yeah, you're right, nothing's gonna happen. A couple weeks later, I'm in England, and I'm like, something's off. Like, and I was craving Caesars, but they didn't have Caesars.
Actually, I craved tomato juice when I was pregnant. It was like the weirdest thing. And I hate tomato juice.
That was all I wanted, and anything with steak. And I was like, this is so weird. And I was really grumpy and irritable, and I thought it was the jet lag, but I was like, there's something not quite right. And you know, I said it to my husband a couple times, you know, maybe, and we're like, no, there's no way. And then we got home.
Were you in London or were you here?
I was in England at the time, yeah. And then I got home and I was super nauseous, and everybody thought I had food poisoning or, like, you know, some bug from the plane. And then I was like, no, man, there's something's not right. And then I took the test and it was positive, and I was...
So how many weeks did it say? Did you get the one that said the weeks?
Well, because we knew the time that it happened, like the time it was conceived, it was literally 2 weeks after.
2 weeks after.
Because it was around the time I was supposed to get, it was the first day that I was supposed to get my period and hadn't. So, yeah.
Wow. I actually, so I took 4 pregnancy tests. I took the one where it was just a line and I didn't know if I should believe it or not. And then
sometimes it's so faint.
It's so faint. I was like, is this anything? Like, I didn't even know. And I was like, okay, well, I can't tell him I'm pregnant if this is not real. So I ended up taking the one that says 2 to 3 weeks, or like how many weeks you are, and mine said 2 to 3 weeks. So do that one. That one's like the most accurate. Almost done my eyes here. I'm gonna do another question. Trying to do ones that I haven't answered before because I feel like I've answered so many already. Let's see here. Do you have a cleaner or a maid? No, so it's just Ryan and I've said that already. We just clean the entire house. We kind of do it like every day, but then also do like big cleanings at least once a week. That's kind of how we do things.
With cleaning toys, buy a tub and just dump everything in, because they do not care about the order of their toys.
Exactly.
Like, I know you're like, oh, I want Lego in here and car. No, they don't care. They're gonna mix it up.
We actually, Ryan was trying to get bins the other day because we need that. They have so many toys, it's ridiculous. How do you manage your mom life in a business? Do you keep a schedule? So I sort of answered that one. I try to schedule myself as much as I can. Like I said, I try to do all my business stuff in the morning. So more of like afternoon to late afternoon, I have time with the girls. And I just feel like I'm most active in the morning. By like after I'm with the girls for a while, and I used to do this where I wouldn't work till the afternoon, I was exhausted. Like by 1 o'clock, I have to have another coffee because I'm so tired, drained.
I hit a wall at 4. I'm just like, I'm done. And that's around the time Ben gets home.
I feel like you have to get stuff done in the morning.
Yeah, I used to be a night owl, and now I'm an early bird for sure.
Okay, so how were you like with postpartum? Ow, my leg. You answer that one first. Did you have depression?
I didn't, and I was really scared because my mom had it really, really bad. That's kind of what my family said.
So you thought you were going to as well?
Like, kind of almost suicidal bad. And
wow.
So, and it is genetic. I was really scared about postpartum depression because it runs in my family. My mom had it really, really, really bad, like almost suicidal bad.
Wow.
And so it was something that I brought up with my doctor, and she actually already started the referrals for me because, you know, the wait list can sometimes be long, and so she said, let's just do it just in case, and if you don't need it, fine.
Right.
Thankfully, I was actually really good. You know, but I also think it's really helpful when you have support. And
100%. I think support is everything.
100%. You know, my grandmother, who's, you know, and my mom were both really, really helpful. You know, there were some days where I was like, honestly, I just want to take a shower.
And I think that's the thing, is you have to ask for help.
Yes.
Like, anytime Ryan and I were just like, holy, we cannot do this right now. Like, you're going solid all day long for like months. It's not easy. And I think us asking his mom for help, or like, you know, needing those extra hands, it's you have to.
You do.
And you can't like be hard on yourself on that.
Definitely.
It's so normal. Like, you know,
takes a village.
Yeah. Sure. And it's weird now because we both don't have families here, so it's like we really are doing everything. But I think it's nice too when you have friends that are able to like help, you know, and other mommy friends, which I think it's nice because I think, and I was just saying this to my friend Chantel the other day, is that I think it's nice when you're with mom friends because they understand, like, you know, if your kid is throwing a tantrum, or if like you're having a difficult time, it's okay. And it's like their kid does it at some point when you're all together. And sometimes I feel almost pressured if I'm with like some of my single friends or people that don't have kids. They don't really get it. They don't understand as much. And, you know, they won't be a helpful hand. And not because they don't want to, but they just sometimes don't know how to.
But we were that person.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh, I was that person. I was 100% that person. And with me, I never held a baby until I held my own. Like, I had no experience with babies whatsoever. I was really new to like the mommy life, and it just came so suddenly, right? Like, it just came naturally. But I feel like the food's gonna get here and then we're gonna just be like half-faced, but
works for me.
That's okay, as long as we leave on time. Okay. How do you deal with not having the energy on taking care of babies and doing housework? What do you do?
Set a routine and have a system.
Mm-hmm.
I try and make, you know, I mean, the things that I have to do several times a day, like, for example, cleaning up the toys, you know, washing the floors by the high chair. I come up with a system so that it doesn't take me more than 5 minutes. And that's why I say, you know, just grab a bin, throw the toys in, because you're going to feel a lot better.
You don't have the time. That's the biggest, I think, thing.
I mean, on Instagram, there's so many beautiful pictures of organized toy rooms. And, you know, mine is nice. It's not pretty, but it's clean.
How's this one? No, I'm just kidding. This room is a complete...
This one's adorable. This one's
It's cute, but it's honestly a shit show half the time. You should have seen it right before Tina came. I was like, because we had a photo shoot in here. But I mean, 2 seconds of the girls in here, and it's a complete disaster. Like, it's insane how fast kids can make a mess.
Oh. Yeah, I mean,
like, Michael was downstairs for 2 minutes and all the I had just cleaned, all the balls were like everywhere. Like, I'm like, how did that happen in 2 minutes?
Yeah, that's why I got rid of mine.
Yeah, I know.
Between him and my dog, it was...
Though, as cute as ball pits are, and I bought another one for the girl's birthday, I was like, why did I do that? That is the worst thing I could have done.
Yeah, they look cute, but it's a lot. You gotta, you know.
For sure. I mean, a lot of balls to pick up, like... It's Ryan's worst nightmare. He hates it.
And also, like, some things, like, some days, you know, I could look at the floor and be like, man, it's pretty dirty. But then I'm just like, you know what? I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
No one's coming over.
But do you find sometimes with that happening, you push it and you're like, okay, like, I was supposed to do that Tuesday and it happens on Friday? That's something with us where we're like, okay, we'll do it tomorrow, and it doesn't happen tomorrow, and we're like,
with certain things, like with like cleaning the windows.
We have to do stuff like, if we're like, okay, this house is a disaster, we have to do it the day of, or it doesn't get done. Let me go to the next question here. Tips on how to get your babies to sleep in cribs. My little one only wants to sleep in a bed. I don't know. I didn't have that problem because I never slept with the girls in the bed when they were young. I only had them in the crib. So I'm not sure if it's like if you start that early on. Like if they're used to being in the bed, I think it'd be really hard to transition them to a crib.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
it's like what they're used to.
Yeah, we had him in a cot beside our bed, and then there was a period where in the mornings he'd wake up at 5, and this is when he was like 3 months old. He'd wake up at 5, and I would feed him and bring him into the bed, and then he would sleep until like 7:38. But that never really turned into anything negative. And then once he was in his own room a couple months later, then it was fine. But I mean, if you're wanting to do it, start with naps.
Yeah.
Start with, you know, putting them in a crib for their naps. But if you are fine with them being in the bed, there's honestly nothing wrong. A lot of people say like, oh, it's bad and it's bad habits, and I think it's just personal opinion, but the research shows in North America we're actually the weird ones for not having our baby in the bed, because most of the rest of the world does it.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's not going to mess up your baby, you know? Yeah. And if you want to take it really slow, the transition, that's fine. Yeah, but I would definitely say start with naps.
Yeah.
That's what I did when I got Michael used to his own room.
Yeah.
And make it a good sleep environment, you know? Pitch black.
I think, for sure, pitch black. Like, they're so used to that now. But I feel like we didn't do... Like, we never really... We had the girls in the bassinets, but we never put them in our bed because, well, there's 2 of them. We would go mental. We would go crazy. But I feel like that was our time to rest. I know a lot of people like to cuddle with their babies and stuff, and I'm starting to do it a little bit now. Like, Sophia's been having a little bit of nightmares, which I told you guys, and I would say for the past week, and you said it too, is when they start an imagination and they start to get scared of stuff. So I've noticed that with Sophia, and she's just been like waking up and crying, and so we've been like cuddling in the bed and stuff, but she is kind of getting used to that now. So I'm like, shoot, should I be even doing that? And it's like, I feel like they know, like now she knows like the past 4 mornings that I've picked her up, put her into our spare bedroom, we've cuddled, and I'm like, shoot, now she's gonna expect that tomorrow morning. But I feel like the easiest is for us after a long day is just to get them used to the crib, put them in the crib, let them sleep in the crib, and you know, it depends on honestly how much time you have, how much, you know, you're doing and stuff, but we're busy all day long. I feel like that's our time to relax. Once you're in bed at 7, that is when Ryan and I eat. Yeah. That's when we have our time, and it's so important to us before we go to bed. We're like, we have this time to each other. This is the only time we have all day. Like, yeah. You shouldn't feel bad at all about that. No. And I think, that's not my mirror. But yeah, you should obviously, I think, spend time with your hubby. I think it's important. That's when you guys bond and whatnot, you know.
Yeah, don't let that go, because there have definitely been periods where I've put that on the back burner because I'm more focused on Michael, and it has, you know,
which I think any mom will do.
Yeah. I mean, it's true what they say. People think that, you know, having a baby fixes a relationship, and our relationship was fine, but I'm just saying that, you know, it's a challenge for a relationship.
100%.
And you do definitely have
Ryan and I have never challenged each other more, like having babies now, you know, like it's definitely challenged us with our relationship, but I think teamwork is more than anything. Yes. Like, you need to be communicating, you need to be communicating when times get hard, when you need a break. I feel like we're doing that now with each other, which is great. But yeah.
Yeah, both partners can pull their weight, you know. And I know, you know, I think the biggest issue I think sometimes Ben and I have is he's the one, you know, he's the breadwinner, he works, right? And because I'm a stay-at-home mom, and
right,
you know, while I finish school, and
yeah, so we're kind of the opposite in that situation. Yeah, which is funny. So I'm the breadwinner, Ryan works at home with the girls, and like, yeah, I guess it's different, right? But there's, I think... Do you find that's a challenge? Like,
I think sometimes, you know, because sometimes, you know, he comes home from work and, And at this point, I'm just like, I'm
exhausted.
because it's so mentally challenging having to be switched on for 8
Ryan and I were
hours.
talking about this. He always says, like, Ryan worked crazy hard at his old job and stuff, and he was working like nonstop, crazy hours, but he always says that being a stay-home dad is harder than anything. Like, and it really is. Like, it's nonstop. Like, he always says too, you can at least have breaks when you're at your job. Like, you don't get a break when your baby's sleeping. You're cleaning. You're cleaning, you're prepping food, you're getting stuff ready for your baby again, so it's not technically a break. So I think no matter what, that is the hardest job. And I think if you are, like, you have to communicate that with your husband. They have to understand.
Yes.
Give them a test. Like, be like, here, on Saturday, you're watching the kid all day, and, you know, I'm not watching
a couple hours. Like,
and it's like, sometimes they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's so hard
like
to watch.
5 minutes. Oh my God. Like, you know, 5 minutes. But that's the thing, you know?
But I mean, Ben's really helpful. I'm really, really grateful that he's a really involved dad. You know,
he is.
He gets home and he immediately takes him off my hands so that I can make dinner. I love to cook. It's therapeutic for me, so I look forward to cooking dinner at night. And then in the evenings, once we put him down, we both just spend 10 minutes just like hard cleaning, just
that's great,
tidying up everything, and we do it together, right? Because then there's no resentment, there's no stress, and then we both get to sit down and relax.
That's
10 minutes with 2 people is a lot. You know, you can get a lot done if you're working quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I think it's...
No, it's a team effort, 100%. Yeah. Like, you get more done with 2 than you will 1.
And it does take 2 people. I mean, both parents are equally influential on their child's development. You know, I mean...
I agree.
Some people might argue, you know, that one is more important than the other, but I
100% agree with you.
Very, very important.
Yeah, no, they are. I think the dad should be just as involved as the mom should be.
Well, I mean,
and
my dad raised me, right? I mean, that was my thing, right? And,
yeah, for sure.
And that was important. And I mean, your mom raised you. And,
exactly.
And I mean, that's tough too, right? I mean, I
can't
being imagine doing it by myself.
Being an only parent, I honestly could not imagine. For sure. Yeah, the rest of the questions are just questions that I think I've answered before. Like, what are your favorite, you know, stuff for the twins? What do you like to do with them? But you guys, I feel like, know that. I wonder, so are there just any things that I guess you'd want to mention to anybody, like a new time mom, or just anything like real?
You don't need half of the stuff that you think you do.
I was gonna say, that's honestly, because we have so much stuff. I'm like, why did we even buy this?
We
like,
spent a fortune on that
clothes
stuff
and toys. It's like, and the thing with me and Sophia, they'll play with something and be good with it. Like 5 minutes, they're like, okay, I've experienced that, I'm done. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, toys. Yeah, you gotta alternate the toys, but I feel like they get sick of toys so fast. It's like, you don't need to buy a crazy amount of toys.
And you don't even need toys. Like, as I was packing and all my stuff was sent to Calgary, and I had nothing for 2 weeks with Michael, he played for half an hour with an ice cube tray. Yeah. So, you know, you can be creative. He was actually more interested in that than, you know, because it's not a toy. Almost,
exactly.
Right? And
which is what the girls like to play with the most.
You know, get a good stroller if you're going walking and stuff like that. I mean, that was probably my biggest
And the wagon.
And the wagon. I'm looking forward to getting one of those.
Okay, the wagon is like a big buy for sure. Okay, so we went down, we fed the babies. They're good to go. Daddies are with them. I just put on my lashes. But I'll show you a full little recap at the end of like what we're doing with her makeup. But we have these bad boys. Okay, round 2. And I have no chase either. This is terrible. Okay.
Seasoned bartender right here.
Oh! I'd laugh if anyone's watching this in the morning, because I can't stand to watch like liquor or shots and stuff like that like in the morning. Okay, so it's a little bit of highlighter for the both of us, and we're good. Okay, so we are about to leave right now, and you guys just saw our entire Q&A, introduce you to my bestie Tina, and I just had so much fun doing this. I actually haven't done a Q&A in a really long time, especially like a mommy one, and obviously have not been out for a mom's night in like a few years. So it's gonna be fun. We're excited. And if you guys want to see me do more of these videos, definitely let me know in the comments. And if you guys have not yet subscribed, subscribe. There you go. Awesome, you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.